All right. Welcome back, everybody. It's Talk Openly night. My name's Jack. I'm here with my wonderful friend Daniel. Hey,
Hi,
Daniel.
Jack.
Yeah, and we're coming to you from Sacramento and Port Hadlock, Washington. Um, Lions Roar Dharma Center Sangha members. And I'm so grateful to see you, Daniel, because it's been a couple weeks now.
We've been absent for a couple of weeks, and I have missed you dearly.
I know. Yeah, it felt abnormal.
Yes, indeed. But you know what? Now coming back to it feels a little abnormal too, I must
Sure.
admit.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Well, and I guess that's just the nature of things.
Yeah, little transitions, in and out.
Right. Yeah. Well, and so we kind of last time we started a series on the five paths. And so we started with the path of accumulation. And both of us realized, looking at the second path, which we're going to talk about, somewhat tonight, the path of seeing or path of preparation. There's a couple different path of joining. Oh no, not path of seeing. My apologies. See, that's we're getting to the point here is that we don't know what we're talking about when it comes to these five paths. We both are definitely early on in the stages of the path of accumulation. And so, we both felt like moving on to further paths, we don't have personal experience with those. And so we wouldn't be able to talk about them from that level, which is really the point of the show, is to kind of share how we're working through these topics in our own lives and in our own practice. And so we'll touch on, elements of this second path. But I imagine a lot of it is going to be kind of more meta level. We'll be talking about our own experience of trying to learn and understand some of these things. So tonight we're bringing our humility and yeah, just our recognition of where we're at on the path.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having great aspirations, right? And I think that in the past it has actually worked out quite well for us to pick a series, to delve into, and then we can always speak about it from our own personal experience, however limited that might be. In this case, though, learning more about these paths made it very clear, at least from my point of view. I'm like, I'm barely on the path of accumulation, and I'm probably going to be here for a few eons.
Mhm.
So I'm not, at least in this lifetime, at this moment, ready, to speak about my own personal experiences with the rest of the path, right? Like we can talk about the map because that's what it is, right? We can talk about the map, but only from the point of view of somebody who's looked at a map
Right.
and not even all that well, you know?
Right.
We know now that there is a map. We know that there's like a starting point on the map and that there's other places on the map, but it's kind of like, those old school ones that were like folded up, the
Oh,
old
yeah,
paper maps, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Not like
So
the one's not on your phone,
not on your phone,
basically.
the
Yes.
old paper maps, right? For old people like us.
Uh-huh.
We saw that we got the map, right? Like we saw it, we know that it's there, and like we opened up the first little fold, and we're like,
Mhm.
"Ooh, look at that!" Right?
Yeah.
That's neat. This is where I'm at.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like we haven't even unfolded the rest of the map, let alone gone on the journey, right? We haven't yet,
Right.
we haven't traversed the path itself. So it's really hard for us to talk about it from a personal perspective.
Maybe I was just telling my roommates during dinner that I had had this dream that I was trying to decipher a little bit. And that maybe what you just said helped me understand it possibly a little
Okay.
bit about like we haven't even started the journey. So do you mind if I share
Oh,
the
please. Yeah,
it was
yeah, let's
it
do
was a
it.
kind of a cool dream, but I've been having a lot of dreams about airports and planes. So something around that, I don't know. But so this particular one, I was going on a trip to Tibet and with some Sangha members. And so I arrive at the airport, and of course I'm late, and I have to like run out on the tarmac. And there's this small jet, like it looks like kind of a, like a CEO's jet, but it's covered in Sanskrit. It's got like mountains, and it's beautiful. It's kind of ornate. And then either in the airport or on the plane, there's like this shrine room with like, thangkas, and people are meditating, and it's like really beautiful. But we don't take off. Like the dream doesn't go beyond that. It's just like in the airport, maybe stepping towards the plane,
Ah.
but not even embarking yet. Isn't that interesting? It's
Oh,
so
how
yeah,
fascinating.
and I had it last night, and I was kind of I hadn't quite prepared much for tonight, but like I think it was on my mind that like, okay, we're
Yeah.
going to be moving into this. So how cool that you brought that little spark
Yay, we're
for
just on the
me.
tarmac. We're looking at the airplane.
Exactly. We're looking at the airplane, and it's gorgeous and it's wonderful, and we're so grateful to
We're
be
so
there.
we're excited. There is an airplane. There
Yeah,
is, there is a pilot. You know,
right.
it's gonna be
Yeah,
great. But
right.
we haven't gotten there yet.
Right. And you know what I remember thinking, like, that's a really small plane. Like, there's going to be a lot of turbulence. Like, it's going to get blown over by the wind. Like dream thought, where it's like that. Well, that doesn't make sense. But that was kind of what I was thinking, was like, it's small. I'm gonna get knocked over in the sky.
Oh, maybe the reason you didn't get on the plane is because it's the small scope plane, and you're actually on the great vehicle. So you were waiting for the double decker
The double
Boeing, whatever it
decker.
is, right? That can
Yeah.
have many more people.
Yeah. Gotta be on that Bodhisattva plane. Oh, thanks. That's fun.
Oh, that's cool. I wish I had dreams like that. But no, thanks to you, I am remembering a lot of my dreams. It's been
Nice.
fantastic, but nothing quite like that. Nothing as symbolic as that. That's for sure.
Yeah, so that's the first one I've had in a long time that was like actually about my training for
Yeah.
practice, or at least like, visibly so.
Yeah. Great.
Um, but yeah, Daniel, how are you doing?
Oh,
It's been a couple weeks. I'd love to hear about your life and your
yeah.
training.
Yeah, fantastic. So the reason why we were off last week was because I was on a semi-vacation in Fort Bragg, California, visiting my spouse's family there, and it was truly wonder. It was such a re different pace of life, so
Mm,
much slower, so much more nature, so much more intentional. It was great. I had
mm,
time to meditate. I had time to read. I had, like it was fantastic.
mm,
And then I had to transition back into city life, and that was pretty harsh.
yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting actually. I wouldn't say I let go of my training, but I definitely relaxed a
Mm,
lot around it. Like it was a lot more less like I got my timer on and I'm gonna sit, it wasn't like that, right? And I got to I had a couple of different Dharma books that I was reading. I got to like just read and sit and contemplate and think about it. So that was really, really pleasant. And then it feels good actually to come back and be like, okay, now I'm getting into my regular routine here, right? And that
yeah.
feels good too. But I gotta say the relaxing part of it was super nice.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. And yeah, just having the time to really kind of um sit and contemplate, rather than kind of like what happens with me lately is like I'll read, like a few pages, and then I barely have time to, really let it seep in.
Yeah,
And I know I need to make that time, or I'd like to make that time, because when I do, there is such more of like a osmosis feeling.
truly,
So
truly.
that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, one of the books that I'm reading is Kangshir Rinpoche's book. I think it's like The Monk's Guide to Happiness or something like that.
Right.
I forget the name of it. My copy's been signed by the author in person, so
Well,
it's
that's fabulous.
yeah.
Nice.
But one of the cool things about it is at the end of each chapter, there's a contemplation, right?
Mm,
So it's really easy to digest, super simple, made for, it's not super intellectual or anything. It's very practical, very oriented towards our lives here and now.
mm.
And it was refreshing, to like sit with it, I loved it. And I gotta say, this is this might be TMI. But he adopted this phrase that was related to sort of our problems in life, and he called it GAS, GAS,
That's right. I remember in his book. Yeah, that's
right?
so funny. Yes.
Greed, anger, stupidity. I believe that's
Yes.
what this stands for. And what's funny about it is I have a domain name that I bought a while ago that I'm intending to write a book about called Figurative Farts. And so it was really great. It was inspirational. I was like, because that was what I wanted to write about, was precisely
Yeah.
that. So it's kind of cool. It gave me a little bit of inspiration and material for my own book.
Would you be like, would you be able to reach out to him and let him know your idea? Like, is that something that you
Heck
could
yeah,
do? Like, I would
absolutely.
really like you to.
I think he would respond positively to it.
I think
Maybe
so
I can
too.
even get him to write the foreword. That'd be great.
Oh my God, that'd be so
Wouldn't that
fun.
be amazing?
That'd be so great. Oh gosh. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's such a wonderful teacher. I know he visited Sacramento, right? He visited the
Yeah.
temple
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, dude, it was, what was really great about his visit too. Since we're in confession mode today regarding humility and all of that. Uh, so he's been here a few times before, and it was really interesting to observe that in the previous visits, I had like these high expectations, and I sort of was projecting onto him and onto the visit and all of this, and I was actually disappointed in the past. I did not
Mm,
have. I was like, no, it wasn't. I didn't care for that. That something along those lines. And so I was checking my mind before he showed up, and I was like, no, you got to come in fresh, like not
mm,
don't come in thinking that you already know anything, and just see what it's about, right? Keep an open mind. And it was such a breath of fresh air, and it was such an
yeah.
enjoyable visit, and his teaching style, his mannerisms, his humor, all of that stuff, like totally, I was just like, okay, I'm a fan.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I think he just really I don't know, he puts things in a way that I can understand.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's yeah, it's very compassionate and I
Yeah,
think it also shows his intelligence too, right?
totally.
To be able to
Absolutely.
explain things
Yeah.
simply that are very complicated.
Right, right.
Yeah,
It was great. So I'm
awesome.
certainly very appreciative of him, and I recommend his book to anybody who has a chance to read it.
Great.
Yeah, but the week before, why weren't we here the week before, Jack?
So the week before, I was preparing to head out for a meditation retreat at Sravasti Abbey, which I know, I've definitely mentioned the monastics there and the head abbess, Venerable Chodron. She's someone who I listened to a lot of her talks. I've read, a couple of her books. Um, and I just really admire that community. So that's why I wasn't here a couple weeks ago, is because I was preparing for that. And I had a really, really wonderful experience. Um, it the first day I arrived, I was able to meet people and chat, get to know people a little bit. Um, and that was really nice because the next day we started a silent retreat. But what I noticed, what really kind of like, there's a few takeaways that I have. But one of the things that I remember the most that really kind of feel like I feel it is just how much, how welcoming they were.
Yeah.
And I know that's like it sounds really simple,
Hmm.
but it's their home and they were inviting strangers, right? We're so many strangers into their home. And to they their entire days are filled with Dharma. And it was just so remarkable to be around people who are really devoting all of their time to Dharma training. And
Yeah.
so it was kind of fun. There were, like in the bathrooms, there were mantras that you could do, like while urinating or other, like,
Get out.
yeah. And so there, it was just very sweet. And there's um, like the shrine rooms were ornate and gorgeous, like the altars, beautiful. Um, Everything else was like in the kitchen, the dining area, it was so home-like. It was very
Oh,
warm.
yeah.
And like each of us got a coffee mug that was, like a random coffee mug where we put a piece of tape on it and write our name on it.
Yeah.
It's just like those kinds of things where it's like mismatched dishes and whatnot. It was very sweet and humble. And I just really felt their practice. Um, and the structure of it was that we followed their schedule. And in addition, there were 2 teachings a day by Venerable Chodron. And so it was intense. And every afternoon there was a discussion group where we could really internalize things and into our actual lives. Um, and so I really came away. Oh, and I took Bodhisattva vows and
Okay.
precepts
Yeah.
and vows, which I hadn't done yet. Um, I think I had uh, created aspiration for bodhicitta and whatnot, and our morning prayers, evening prayers have bodhisattva kind of uh, recitations. But yeah, this was the first time that I actually took them, and
Oh,
yeah, I think so. So in 2018, at the very end of 2018, I believe it may have actually been Jado Rinpoche who offered bodhisattva vows. I'm not 100% sure if that's right, but I had only been coming to the temple for a couple months. And I realized like partway through, like I had my knee down, I was I was like starting the vows, and I just started looking farther into the text, and I was like, you know what? I am not ready for this.
oh, wow. Okay.
I'm not ready for this. And
Yeah.
so I just sat back in my chair and listened.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that I did that actually. Because then it made it so that now at this time, 7 years later, basically, I can see like I am at the point where I can take that and I can actually, work those things into my life and really be thinking about them and honoring them, rather than kind of just like, this is a cool thing that I stumbled upon,
Right. Yeah.
And so that felt really good.
Oh,
So just
very
like,
cool.
yeah, a very cool
Yeah.
several days, and it like put a lot of energy into my practice.
How could it
So
not? And you got to
yeah,
listen to Venerable Children in person.
yeah. And she's, just as funny as, seeing her online. She's wonderful. And every single one of them is just so genuinely kind.
Were
Uh,
you starstruck?
I wasn't. It felt like it just felt like kind of I don't know, home in a way. It felt kind of like the temple, like our temple,
Oh,
where it was just like I just felt comfortable and um n no jitters or anything. It was just like, yeah, these are my friends.
oh my
More
God.
friends, right?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great.
Oh my gosh. That I love it. And what was it like? What was the silent portion of it like for you?
That was actually so nice. I
Yeah.
was a little bit worried, like, oh, I'm gonna want to talk or something. But there's also a lot of chanting during the day, so it's not 100% silent.
Yeah.
Um,
Not
but
a
it
lot of talking.
not a lot of talk, right? Not just kind of chatter. And I really enjoyed just sitting next to people, smiling at them, eating together, being humans together
Yeah.
without having to come up with anything to say.
Hmm.
It was
Mm,
so pleasant.
that sounds peaceful and like a relief.
It was
Wow.
relieving. Yeah, like, oh, we don't have to be anyone or anything to
Yeah,
each
no
other.
need for superficial nonsense, nothing,
Yeah.
no idle chatter, no, none of the weird sort of stuff that kind of just chill. We know what we're doing here together. We're being together.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
Yeah, it kind
God,
of it
that's
warms
a
my heart just
yeah.
thinking of it.
It warms my heart just thinking of it. What
Yeah.
what was it? So you said it was like invigorating or it added, some energy. What's it what it's been, over a week now since you've been back, right?
Yeah.
So what's it like? Is it still infusing your practice? What's the like the like when you ding a bell, you ding the bell,
Yeah.
What's it like now? What's the ringing like now?
The reverberations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I've really been trying to keep with me is the Bodhisattva vows
Yeah.
and really bodhicitta. Um, and so actually the text that was given out in 2018 when I didn't take the vows, I have. And so I've been reading that every morning and every evening and taking time to just kind of marinate it in it. And I've been reading the 37 practices of the Bodhisattva every night. And it's so gorgeous. And Jessica gave a talk on Sunday. Jessica was actually at the retreat, which
Yeah.
was fantastic. But she gave a talk on the 8 verses of mind training, and there's a lot of similarities between those verses and the 37 practices of the Bodhisattva. And so that's kind of been the reverberation is like, oh, remember, like everything is mind training. Like
Yeah.
Jessica said, everything is mind training. And so what do I want to put my mind towards?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, bodhicitta.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, so good.
Oh, that's amazing. That's wonderful. I remember you reminded me one time I one my own misconceptions of Buddhism and Dharma practice and all that were beginning to sort of fall away. I mean, I'm sure I still have plenty of them, but some of my core sort of misconceptions were giving way and sort of the reality of what was going on started to hit me. I remember asking Lama one time, I said, is it all mind training or is there something else going on here? Like the deities and like, spiritual powers and all is it or is it just like all everything is just mind training? And he's like,
Mm.
it's all mind training.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
remember feeling disappointed. I don't feel that disappointment anymore, but
right, right. Yeah, it is. It is. I'm just to like check in every once in a while and be like, what is the state of my mind?
yeah.
What is my
Okay.
mind turned towards right now?
What is it the Tibetan word for mind training? Is that Lojong?
I think so.
And
Yeah,
it's Tibetan, right? Lojong?
yeah,
Mind training?
I believe so.
I
Yeah.
believe so too. Do you think we
Oh,
should do
well,
some?
should we do that? Is that is that our segue?
I was trying. I wasn't very smooth, but it's like
It
me in
was
pickup
perfect.
lines.
It was
Not very
perfect.
smooth. But
Mm,
here, let me see if I can pull this up and share my screen. I apologize for the poor lighting, by the way. I know I've got terrible lighting here,
that's
but
okay.
that's all right. We're working with what we got.
That's right. I think
Um,
a lot of times, at least for me, when I'm listening to something like this, I just got my headphones in and I'm like, I don't know, cleaning or
yeah,
something.
geez, I really hope no one's looking at this. You're not missing anything except Jack's beautiful face here.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
all right. So random Lojong slogan. Here we go.
All right. Two.
Oh, perfect.
All right. Regard all phenomena as dreams. Great. I'm talking about dreams. Let's see, let's scroll down a little bit.
Uh,
This is complicated, isn't it?
oh my goodness.
Whoa.
Good, good. We got something. Who is this is
You want to go back and forth reading it? Because
Yeah,
those are like
let's
different
do it.
parts.
Let's do it. How about you read the intro and I'll do Subhuti.
Okay. So this is the first slogan slash instruction of point two. Point two is, quote, the actual practice. Point two consists of 9 instructions in 2 divisions. The 2 divisions are 1, cultivating absolute bodhicitta, which has 5 instructions, and, quote, regard all phenomena as dreams, belonging to the first division, cultivating absolute bodhicitta. 2, cultivating relative bodhicitta, which has 4 instructions. In the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra in 8,000 lines we find. And that is one thing about Tibetan Buddhism, the classification and categories and lists and numbers. This is sometimes difficult to track. But go ahead, take it away,
All
Subhuti.
right, so I'll be Subhuti, you'll be the gods. How
All right.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Um, like a magical illusion are these beings, like a dream. For not two different things are magical illusion and beings are dreams and beings. Any and all objective facts also are like a magical illusion, like a dream. The various classes of saints, from stream winner to Buddhahood, also are like a magical illusion, like a dream.
A fully enlightened Buddha also, you say, is like a magical illusion, is like a dream. Buddhahood also, you say, is like a magical illusion, is like a dream.
Even nirvana, I say, is like a magical illusion, is like a dream. How much more so anything else?
Even nirvana, holy Subhuti, you say is like an illusion, is like a dream.
If perchance here could be anything even more distinguished, of such too I say is like an illusion, like a dream. For not two different things are illusion and nirvana, are dreams and nirvana.
So hereupon the venerable Shariputra, the venerable Purna, son of Maitrayani, the venerable Mahakoshithila, the venerable Mahakatanya. There's a lot of names here. And the other great disciples, okay? Together with many thousands of bodhisattvas said, who, Subhuti, are these grasping this perfect wisdom as here explained? Hereupon the Venerable Ananda said this to these elders: Bodhisattvas incapable of falling back grasp this, or beings, persons reaching sound views, or arhats in whom the outflows are realized as dried up.
No one grasps this perfect wisdom as here explained, for no Dharma at all is being indicated, lit up, or communicated. So here too is not even one grasping it.
All right.
I love it. Do you know, Jack? This is interesting. I think it actually ties in largely to the path of joining.
Okay.
One of the key things. So a big path or a big part of the path of joining is greater awareness of, understanding of emptiness, right? And that a big part of the training there is regarding all phenomena as dreams. And
Mm.
if my understanding is correct, so it says down here where is it about the arhats? So who is it that is grasping this perfect wisdom as explained? And and the fact is that the bodhisattvas who have reached those bhumi levels, right? The
Hmm.
arhats, which the arhats, if I understand it right, that's as soon as you hit the next path, the path of seeing is the beginning of arhatship, right? So I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
don't take my word at it, but I think it's related to what we're talking about.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
Cool.
Um, well, and let's check out this. This is a gorgeous Shakyamuni
Ooh,
carving. Oh, wow.
that is very, very nice.
So
Oh
if
my
you're
God.
just listening and washing the dishes, take a moment and look. This is just a gorgeous statue of Buddha Shakyamuni.
Ah,
Um, how peaceful,
yeah.
beautiful.
Ah,
Buddha calling on earth to witness.
mm.
Ah,
The pivotal moment.
fantastic.
Ah, that's
All
cool.
right. What good inspiration.
Heck yeah.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, so the path of preparation, we are not prepared to talk about any of these paths. And hey, another bad joke. I think we're on the path of no more learning any more for now about the
N-
five paths.
No more learning about the five paths, except from our teacher, who I believe
Totally.
I heard him say this is the year he'll be teaching on the five paths.
Well,
So
that's great.
he has already started some, and I believe he'll probably continue with it until we have a better understanding of it.
Perfect. Yeah, that is much needed. Um, but yeah, so we came from the path of accumulation, where it's this just constant practice of developing, our skillful means, and engaging in activities that are helpful to others, that don't harm ourselves or others, so on and so forth. And then that prepares the way for this next stage, which is the path of preparation or the path of joining. And the joining part, I guess, is because like it kind of takes all that merit, right? The development of merit, and then that allows, some kind of understanding of emptiness. That's kind of maybe what I understand about the joining part. Um, and like you said, this is kind of the first time that we really see like, okay, this is like Bodhisattva territory. Like this is the first boomy, I guess. And so it's pretty exciting stage.
It's
And
yeah, it's a bridge stage, right?
a
Hence
bridge
the
stage.
the joining part of it. I was just thinking about it. I don't know a lot about medical doctors, but if I understand it correctly, first you go to school, right? And you do a lot of learning about
Mm.
medicine and being a doctor and whatnot. But then there's the second part. What do they call residency,
Mm.
right? And I think it's something kind of similar. And then you're actually a doctor. And I think it's something kind of similar here because I'm going to quote something from a great teacher, Sechen Gyaltsab, right? He said, and I think this is directly related to what we're talking about here. For practitioners on the path of accumulation, there is understanding. For those on the path of joining, there is experience. And for those on the path of seeing, there is realization. And I think that that's sort of like the bridging the gap, right, between this intellectual, conceptual understanding, for example, of emptiness, right? So you have this you're learning from your teachers, you're reading books, right? And then you are going to meditate with it, and that's going to be a greater experience of it. And then there's the realization of it, which comes with the path of seeing.
Yeah, and as far as I understood too, like the level of understanding of emptiness in this second path, the path of joining, is about the emptiness of a self. And then in the next stage, that's when one really develops a direct perception of the emptiness of all phenomenon. And so it's kind of like there's a development of your understanding of emptiness where it moves from, it's kind of like, like there's um like the more coarse kind of understanding and moving into more subtle understanding. Um, so it's interesting that there's like these kind of stages of realization of emptiness.
Yeah, and I've heard, and this I just want to reiterate this show is a great demonstration of our ignorance, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Everything with a huge grain of salt.
yeah, for sure, without a doubt. Bring in the entire salt shaker.
Yeah.
I think that so what I heard is that that's what you described there is a primary distinction between Mahayana and the other paths, right? Is that the view of emptiness is far more refined. So there's the view of emptiness of the self, right? And then that's actually common to all the paths, but that this sort of more refined view of emptiness is that it's not just so just like Subhuti was explaining, right, in the Lojong that we were just in the commentary there, is that it's all empty, right? That it's not, it's the emptiness of the self, it's the emptiness of all, of all the all phenomena, emptiness of these paths that we're talking about,
Right.
emptiness of nirvana, emptiness of all of the spiritual development, emptiness of all of it, right? Complete and utter, and that it's these like gradations, right? And
Yeah.
that's sort of like what's being pointed to, is that in the first two stages, the path of accumulation and in the path of joining, that it's all conceptual. It's
Yeah.
totally just like an intellectual understanding. The difference is that initially, like where we're at, or at least where I'm at, right, is that I'm hearing about it, I'm learning about it, I'm being taught about it, and that's great. I'm reflecting on it. I'm practicing meditation. I'm trying, to gain shamatha. I'm trying to gain insight. I'm trying to unify these things together, but I'm still a baby. I'm just trying, right? Like I haven't, I'm not doing it yet. And so my understanding of emptiness is just, it's like a baby's understanding of a concept, right?
So yeah,
Yeah, but then
such
the
a
then the
great, yeah.
idea is that, yeah, the idea is then we perfect those skills and we get really good, right? So there's the union of shamatha and vipassana, and within that state, we're able to really get the concept of emptiness, but it's still a concept. It's still an intellectual understanding.
Right. Yeah, and isn't it's like amazing to imagine that someone who has attained full shamatha has not yet attained like full enlightenment like that. I think when I first kind of started meditating and learning about this stuff, I felt like that shamatha would be like how I get to enlightenment, right? And
Yeah.
it's definitely it we need it. We absolutely need it. But it's not the end point at all. In fact,
No,
at
no.
stage two, someone has attained the ninth level of shamatha,
Right.
has completed it. That's incredible. That is an incredible achievement. Um, and that's just path 2 out of 5.
Right. It's just the beginning. It's still, that's still in the mundane, right? Like it's
Yeah,
still just sort of the conceptual world. So yeah, it's daunting, right? And humbling.
it is. Yeah.
I think one of the things that I love about attempting this series is that I'm still filled with all kinds of delusion and ignorance and whatnot, about Dharma, about Buddhism, about myself, and about the world around me. Um, and there have been times where I have experiences or some kind of like little pinprick, as we talk about,
Right.
right? And I think I'm like, ooh, pinprick. I didn't realize there's a pinprick. I'm like, wow, maybe I'm there. Maybe this is it, right? And
Yeah, it's like pinprick, and it's like, oh, I can see everything.
that's right. That's right. I remember actually, our Bradley Yergin was talking about, yeah, this is a long time ago. He was giving a talk, and he was saying, he was talking I don't remember what the subject matter was, but he was talking about how Lama had told him that, people are at these different stages, and some people are like, they don't even know, that there is a road or a path or anything, and then so on and so forth. And there are some people who are already there, but they just don't know it,
Wow.
right? And I remember being like, maybe that's me.
Maybe that's me.
Maybe I'm already there
Me.
and I just don't know it? And so that's what I mean, is like that kind of delusion, right?
Totally.
Has been there. It hasn't been recently, but it has been there. And what I find so nice about having a map, knowing that there's stages there, knowing that it is a path, it's a gradual path, right? And these different stages, knowing it and seeing like, oh, I'm not anywhere close to even the begin. Like I'm just setting out. Like I'm
Yeah.
just barely even getting started here. I'm on the tarmac. Like, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I'm on the tarmac. I got my ticket. I'm in, right? But I
Yeah.
haven't even started yet, right? And so
Yeah.
like I find that really helpful.
It is really helpful. Yeah, and it's interesting that like while daunting, it's somehow also inspiring.
It's totally inspiring. Yeah.
Like, because when I think about a daunting task, I think of like, I don't know, grad school or something.
Yeah.
But it's not like that. It's at least for me, it's like, oh, I get to do this incredible thing. I get to start this journey.
Yeah.
That I've been yearning for eons, and in this life, like I've stumbled on it again, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure I've stumbled on it before. I have good karma that that I'm here. And so how beautiful that like we can continue this momentum.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I find actually, you were talking about Thubten Chodron,
Mm.
and I there was she gave a talk. I think she's actually given a couple, but there was one talk on this particular path that I was
Mm.
able to get some snippets from. And there was something that she said that I found particularly inspiring. Can I read it to you?
Please.
So this is not like verbatim. It has some quotes in here, but this is basically it. So while on the path of preparation, a new bodhisattva, path of preparation, aka path of joining, right? A new bodhisattva is not an Arya and has not passed beyond the ground of common beings. Okay, great. However, they possess inconceivable good qualities and here's the quote my absolutely love, and they have thoroughly passed beyond the troubles of children. And
Ah.
and I was like, what? The
Mm.
troubles of children? What do you mean they've passed beyond the troubles of children? The troubles of children are the children are the like childish sentient beings who are
Yeah.
involved in the eight worldly concerns and still grasping at true existence.
Yeah.
Right? And that I find inspiring. I'm like, oh, I want to get beyond the troubles of children.
Me
And there's hope.
too.
There's hope.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
possible.
Oh, wow. I feel like whenever my mind stream gets to like, I don't know, bodhisattvahood, Buddhahood, looking back and seeing like the different stages of development of the mind stream, that's going to be like, wow. I guess, I'll have that mind stream will have compassion for where I was at, but right now it's like I have no idea. Just like a kid does have an idea of like, hey, why are these adults doing these things? But you're just, a 5-year-old like
Yeah,
trying to figure it out. And
right.
that's like that sparked in me like this reminder because I oftentimes think like, man, I don't want to be a kid again.
Yeah.
Like that's confusing, it's hard, it's scary,
Yeah.
also there's
Yeah.
great things about it, but like, gosh, I don't want to be a kid again. And so
Mm,
to think of it of like, well, I'm a kid right now.
you are a kid, yeah.
I'm a kid on the Dharma path. And
That's
so
right.
like embrace it, like this is it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. You're just starting out. And what's nice about that is I feel like partially there's the inspiration, partially there's the sort of a humbling sort of notion. And partially it's a little bit like I feel a little grace, in the sense of like, yeah, dude, you don't have to be, you're not there yet. You're still, of course, you're still a child. You're still involved in these eight worldly concerns. You are working on it. You are maturing. You are growing. There are signs that you're no longer pooping in your diapers or whatever, right? Like that's good. That's
It is really
progress,
good.
right?
Yeah.
But I still have to drink out of a sippy cup,
Right.
like that's where I'm at.
That's where I'm at
That
too.
yeah. So one other thing that Thubten Chodron talked about that I really liked was so there's so these stages are marked by uh, different different aspects of bodhicitta, growing bodhicitta, right? And it's still aspirational, right? But she says that at this stage, the path of joining, um, bodhicitta, then that it becomes so strong, so unwavering that it's called fire-like bodhicitta.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, ooh, I like it. Why is it fire-like? What is like, what are the fire-like components of it? And
Yeah,
it's
I want to know.
because it's not, it's like it's gone from being just like a motivation to like actually having some power, and the power that it has, it's not just like it's so I mean it's not just like, oh, I want to benefit all sentient beings. It actually like is actively burning away the obscurations, right? The bodhicitta
Mm.
itself is like a fire that burns away those obscurations. And
Mm-hmm.
like it's close to engaged bodhicitta. It's close to like what you might closer to ultimate bodhicitta, right? It's
Yeah.
growing in intensity and strength and power. And I'm like, yeah, I want some of that.
Yeah, for sure. How exciting. Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yes,
I
it
think
will.
it's going to be fun. And I see with our teachers too, right? Like they're having fun. Like Lama, I think, has a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Or think of someone like Geshe Sewang or Kansia Rinpoche.
Yeah.
These teachers who are just like they're enjoying teaching the Dharma and joyful and so you can just see it that it's like there is this fire burning in them. They have so much energy for the Dharma and for teaching us children,
Yeah.
like are just
Yeah.
with our absurd little, conflicts and challenges and limitations and they love us.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of Lama, he did touch on this path during a relatively recent talk. I was looking over my notes, and
Mm,
what he said that I noted down about the five paths here. First, he was, as we talked about before on the path of accumulation, that for Westerners, and I really like that he made it super relevant and relative. So during the path of accumulation for Westerners, we realize that it's not about being a solo practitioner, right? No, no, no. What do you call it? Cowboy.
yeah.
What do you call
Cowboy
it?
bodhisattvas.
Cowboy bodhisattvas, and that it's about finding and developing our community. But then on the path, it was interesting. He called this path of joining, he also called it the path of engagement. And he said that's where we are creating a shared vision and a mythical world. And
Mm,
I really, really liked thinking about that based like in context of, what other teachers were saying about what this path is about, right? And partially what I liked about it is that there's this like um that it's not it's like that we're not just doing this in yeah, there's all this internal work, but that we share it with our community, with our sangha, right? And that
yeah.
we recognize that we're doing this together, we're co-creating this reality. And there's something beautiful about, like it began to kind of sink in, because I've oftentimes kind of questioned like, what's all this like ritual and all this like the devotional stuff, and I don't quite get it. But like within this context, it begins to make more sense, right? That
Mm,
as we begin to see that the world is all phenomena are dreams, like the Lojong slogan was talking about, that as that sort of dissolves a little bit, right? The fixedness, the hardness of reality begins to give way, that we can like co-create a new sort of dharmic reality together, right?
mm,
And that's just I love it. I love that idea of that vision of, we're like, yeah, we're actually going to recreate reality in a dharmic sense.
yeah. And I mean, we're doing it now, even
Yeah.
with our um our child's play of developing
Yeah.
merit, which is just incredible that we have the aspiration to do that. Um,
Mm.
But in that we're creating the future for Shambhala, right? Like we're creating the karmic seeds for that.
Exactly. And how cool, right? Like how cool that we begin to see I'm not this self-existence, this solid, thing, right? I begin to see that. I begin to see that you're not that either. And then there's this like, well, then what am I? Who are you? What are you?
Mm.
And how cool to be like, well, I'm a Buddha. You're a Buddha.
Yeah,
Huh. Neat, right?
it is
And we
neat.
begin to engage with each other like that. And I'm, definitely still not there yet, right? But I love the vision of it. And
Yeah.
sometimes like there's this fun, it's like a child imagining like I'm a cowboy now, right? It feels
Totally.
it feels like that, and that's fun, and it's exciting, and it
Yeah.
like it gives way to like greater creativity and greater sort of playfulness as well.
Oh, I'm so glad that used that kind of metaphor, like that pl of play.
Yeah.
And being able to see like yeah, like we can all just be like Buddhas, what would that be like?
Right. If
Yeah,
we're
and
going to
just like have
create a reality,
superpowers.
right. Exactly. Exactly. Why not? Right.
Yeah,
It's less delusional than what I believed before.
yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
So let's have some fun.
Yeah.
Let's have some,
That's exactly it. Let's have some fun
yeah,
and let's create the kind of world that's worth living in, right? If
yeah,
we're going to have a dream, if we're going to create a dream, like why not create this kind of shared dream that is beautiful, that is in line with reality as it is, as close as it can as it can be,
yeah,
right? Where we're not constantly struggling and fighting and feeling all this suffering and getting attached to things. Why not?
yeah,
Isn't
yeah,
that's a much better reality
for
or
sure.
better dream anyway?
Okay, this is inspiring for me.
Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. This is I just really enjoy that thinking of it as like play. I'm kind of trying it on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep that with me. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Why not? You were the one saying it, right? That our teachers, they're playing, they're having fun, they're loose, and don't we want that, right? Like
Yes.
I miss my little child
Oh
that
my
was,
gosh.
that could see the goodness in all things and could dream up all kinds of wonderful realities and didn't get too fixed to any of them. I knew I wasn't a cowboy, but I could be a cowboy right then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Why not? Like, let's do it. Let's release those inner children. I mean, we recognize that we're children on the path, so let's play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I
Oh,
wanted,
Daniel. Yes, go
I
ahead.
wanted to, wait, I wanted to share something else.
Yeah.
So there was something else that related to all of this that I thought was really cool because I'd never put these things together. But so there's this, uh, have you heard of Dromtönpa? Dromtönpa?
I'm not sure.
I don't
Oh,
think I'm saying the name right. Dromtönpa. I think that's how you.
yeah. It's
I,
familiar.
yeah. He was a Kadampa master,
Okay.
and he said he interpreted the Heart Sutra mantra Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha through these five paths, which I thought was really really cool. So
Interesting.
so the initial gate gate, go go. So the first gate is the path of accumulation. The second gate is the path of preparation or the path of joining that we were talking about tonight.
Uh-huh.
Paragate, to go beyond. That's the seeing. That's the one that we're not going to cover.
Yeah.
And then Parasamgate, going utterly beyond. That's the meditation path. Bodhisvaha is arriving at awakening, right? And so each
Ooh.
one of the goes is one of the five paths, and that this
Ooh.
second gate, the second go, that's where we like launch. right? We get airborne towards the other far shore, right? To go to the other shore. How cool. Like like if well, we're not launching you and I now, but
We can see it.
we can see it. We're like, oh look, that's how it works. Oh, got
Do you
that.
like little run jumps?
That's
You
right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
know?
Right now we can imagine it and we can
Yeah.
talk about it. We can be like, what would it be like when we finally make that leap off the peak?
Yeah.
You know?
It's gonna be so fun.
Exactly. So
Gate,
much fun.
gate.
Gate.
Hey,
Hmm.
thanks for sharing that. That's really cool.
I thought that was a neat interpretation.
Super neat. Well, my friend, I don't
Yeah.
know if there's anything more to say
Oh, there's so much, but
about
we're
the
not the ones to
preparation.
say it.
We're not the
Not
ones to say
tonight.
it, not from us. Oh, and thank you everyone for joining. If you're able to make a donation, we'd super appreciate it. lionsroardharmacenter.org. It helps the temple keep the lights on and this kind of programming continue. And so yeah,
Oh.
we'd love that. And thanks for just coming
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everybody.
and
Have a good
staying
night.
around. Bye.
Bye.